Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Welcome to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. I'm Jean Till, and on today's show, we're visiting with Jared Herring. He is the Assistant Athletic Director and the boys track and field coach at Dowling Catholic, and we'll be visiting about the state track meet, as well as coaching student athletes in a Catholic school. Bishop?
Good morning, Jean. Hope you're settling in the groove here as we establish our new little dynamic duo and all that we're about there. So great time of year, many signature celebrations with graduations, and we continue to have confirmation. I heard one of the area Costco's prepared 1,100 cakes. So, I mean...
just for this weekend,
there's
probably.
Just as the weekend, the past weekend,
Wow.
So you know, we're
you
not
didn't
trying
go to 1,100 graduations.
I get no promotional cake or anything as part of that. And, of course, we want typical bakeries too, but in all things there. So, and of course, I wasn't baking any cakes.
But you were eating some.
Yes. Oh, yes. Unfortunately, my father's cake Jones, but we're going to kind of indulge our track Jones in a little bit too. But confirmations. We know last night coming off the Intervisions Gala, a good rousing event promoting the pro-life cause and pregnancy resource centers. Tonight we'll be at St. Anthony for confirmation. Tomorrow over at Guthrie Center, Panor and Baird parishes. And then on Sunday at St. Elizabeth Seton in Carlisle. So we'll be able to work well with them and offer them the grace of the sacrament. We ask our listeners in the Iowa Catholic Radio Network to include in their prayers next week the priests of the Des Moines Diocese who will be making their annual retreat at Conception Abbey in Missouri. And so they're going to be very blessed to have Abbot John Clausen, the abbot of St. John's Collegeville. So he'll be offering his Benedictine wisdom in a Benedictine milieu. So I think Benedict will be smiling. This is a priest retreat, and you'd think a bishop with his priest, but I'm giving them a break from their bishop. Typically, I spend a day with them and celebrate Mass and listen to one of the conferences and socialize as well. But then I give them their space, and we know as bishops we also have our own retreat as well. So our other workshops are a chance for solidarity and all that we're about on that front. So a good opportunity. I just wanted to call attention. I'm not the hugest history buff, but I think, both for our Iowa Catholic Radio and Spirit Catholic Radio Network people, I noted in the necrology of priests that on May 23rd, it was the 150th death anniversary of Jesuit Father Pierre de Smet. I think we say de Smet, not dismay. When I first came to the diocese, Bishop Pates left a few items in his office for me, and there was one particular kind of bronze statue of a saint that I did not recognize, and I was trying to figure out.
You don't know all of them by heart.
It was just, I was like, could this be Claude de Colombière, or who might this be? So finally, Father Dan Kirby gave me a clue that it was Pierre de Smet, because he has a great devotion to Father de Smet, particularly having been pastor at Corpus Christi in Council Bluffs, but the famous missionary. He was actually Belgian and came in 1838 and 39 to establish St. Joseph's Mission in Council Bluffs. Oh. And he was very much field moved by the Spirit to minister as a missionary to the Potawatomi tribe there as well. So he took over the abandoned Council Bluffs blockhouse at the former United States military force, and worked primarily with the Potawatomi band led by Billy Caldwell, also known as Sauganash. So kind of interesting. Billy was both of Mohawk and Irish descent. But very much, I think, appalled by the murders and brutality from the whiskey trade, causing so much disruption among the native peoples. And so I think he was a peacemaker. He also was kind of a cartographer, helping Joseph Nicolette, to map the territory that eventually he traced out in the Missouri River Valley, ended up helping to found the mission at St. Ignatius, Montana, which unfortunately has some checkered history, painful history for the people there, as the people were there, but also making his way as far as Idaho before, in his latter years, returning to St. Louis. So he was one of the ones who actually recruited St. Rose Philippine Duchesne, too. So just, all within the company of saints and holy men and women.
Well, we love our saints, but we also wonder how they got to be in Iowa, and we don't have many of those, so that's a blessing.
Amen.
Yeah. Well, when we return, we're going to be visiting with Jared Herring. He is the Assistant Athletic Director and Boys Track Coach at Dowling Catholic. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by the Society of St. Vincent de Paul. Established in Des Moines in 1924, St. Vincent de Paul assists those living in poverty to become self-sufficient by helping to remove roadblocks on their journey out of poverty. St. Vincent de Paul helps with food, clothing, and shelter, while also offering classes in financial literacy, high school completion, career readiness, and prisoner reentry. Shop, donate, volunteer, serve. The Society of St. Vincent de Paul, svdpdsm.org.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio provided by the Sarah Vocations Ministry, including the St. Sarah Club of Des Moines and the Sarah Club of Council Bluffs. Sarah is an apostolate of the Worldwide Catholic Church dedicated to fostering and supporting priesthood and religious vocations. Sarahs strive to accomplish their mission through prayer, fellowship, and service to the bishop, priests, sisters, and all in religious formation, and in doing so to increase their own holiness. Learn more at joinsarah.org, joinserra.org. Thank you, Sarahs, for your support of Iowa Catholic Radio.
Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. And on today's show, we're visiting with Jared Herring. He's the track coach at Dowling Catholic High School. Bishop.
Coach Herring, thanks for coming on and thus kind of settling, and you get a perspective on that big weekend of fest of track for both the boys and the girls, and a successful year by all accounts, although maybe not at the level that you became accustomed to in the last couple of years. So great to have you. We don't engage a lot with the coaches of either St. Albert Catholic School or at Dowling Catholic, so it's a kind of particular grace to have you today. Just tell us a little bit, maybe how, with the Dowling family and how, this position is a good fit for you based on the God's kind of guiding you along a path that brought you here.
Yeah, so this is my fifth year here at Dowling Catholic. Prior to that, I was at another high school in the Des Moines area, but became aware of the opportunity to coach track at Dowling just through mutual relationships with Andre Meeks, who's a football coach and teacher at Dowling, and Ryan Van Veen, who's at Sacred Heart and was the old boys track coach. Mm-hmm. And so had the opportunity to take the position as the coach, and am now finishing my fifth year, and also I'm now the assistant AD, and just it's an incredible place to be.
Oh, so all that administrative things too, right? And all the regulations you have to adhere to. So just to be with the athletes and to have that kind of stepping out of time and practice and all that you're about too. So you were a pretty accomplished runner yourself, I understand, and playing football too.
Yes, I was at the University of Northern Iowa for 4 years, where I played football there and also ran track.
So a real speed merchant then too. Huh? So in the track coaching, and it might be fair to say that for the boys, Dowling boys, the distances were a little more robust than the sprints. Whereas for the girls, the sprints really kind of carried the day. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. This year, we were blessed to have Jackson Heidish be a part of our team, and he had a really good season for us, and the 4x8 as well. And we were also for the first time able to have two double scorers in the throwing events. So we had Cody Hikes and also Nathan Rotherham score in the shot put.
Yeah, and we can't overlook the field events too, right? Because they're such a vital part of this. So, so in your own kind of skill set and array of skills, obviously you continue to grow, and a student of the sport. But do you focus on certain groups and then enlist your assistants, or kind of overseeing all of it?
Yeah, I have a really good group of assistants. Our distance coaches are great. Kind of all of our coaches are great, and so I just kind of get to focus on my specialty, which is more of the short sprints and relays. And I think that's something I was able to bring to Dowling when I first came in. Is we've always been known for having a great distance program, and over the past couple of years, we've developed our sprinters, and that's led to a lot more team success.
Mm-hmm. You did mention Jackson Heidish, the illustrious Jackson Heidish, double winner again. Little less drama this year, though, in the state meet than last year.
Yeah, we like it that way, and so we had a couple of jokes about that before he competed, but. Yeah, we like to just get the win and everything go as planned.
And so he'll be off to Duke University, and again, that's a a great feather in the cap for the program and all that's there as well. So we wish him well, and he brought many exciting moments as he went forward, But you look at those events that Jackson won, the boys 3,200 and the boys 1,600. And, of course, we got to mention Flynn Milligan, who finished 8th in the 3,200, and Owen Wolf, who got 7th in the 1,600. So it's nice to see, the Maroons, singlet in both of those events, too.
Absolutely. And, Flynn has been great for us for 4 years, and his hard work paying off has been great. And we're excited about Owen, who's a sophomore and kind of came out of his shell in the last couple of weeks of the season.
Tremendous. You mentioned you did not name, but you mentioned an experience with another school here in Des Moines. What do you find about the culture at Dowling Catholic? Maybe that you think kind of serves not only the athletes but serves the whole individuals.
Yeah, what I think stands out the most is just it's a loving, caring environment where the individuals you interact with on a daily basis are truly genuine and truly care about how you're doing and want to see you succeed. So it's been a breath of fresh air. I think obviously there's good people everywhere, but we do it a step above, I believe, at Dowling Catholic.
Mm-hmm. Well, you just seem to have infused, a very positive spirit energy in all that's there, and kind of bringing excellence out in a great way, and collaboration too. This is, don't ask questions you don't know the answer to, but do you see any kind of faith dimension woven into this, or prayer or not, or some of the people part of the Ut Fidem groups that are part of the kind of faith sharing on the small level or not?
Yeah, so some of the things just with our team that we do, we have a small leadership team that meets weekly, and we do a quick devotional and just to center ourselves on our faith. And obviously with the team of 150 athletes, it's hard to have those one-on-one conversations with all of them. But we kind of challenge that group of 15 or 20 athletes to go out to the team and share the messages that we speak on, and just making sure we keep things in perspective. Our team's slogan or motto is pursuing excellence. And so we talk about pursuing excellence in all things with just the conviction that our identity is in Christ and who Christ says we are, and not in our performance. Mm-hmm. And so often our athletes can get caught up in the performance if it's going well or if it's not going well, and that drives them. But we always just want to challenge them to come back and understand that they're not defined by that performance.
Mm-hmm. Tremendous. So kind of seeing in a more holistic way and all that about, that there will be triumphs, but there also, we discover our limits too. And so humility and, that our, in the striving itself is God is glorified in that, even if we don't necessarily carry home the medal and what we're about too. So a 6th place finish this year in state track. How do you commend, and how does this, I think, kind of position you going forward, do you think, for the program?
Yes, I think we were able just to continue to build on the success that we've had in the last 3 years. In 2021, we were state runner-ups, and in 2022, we were state champs, and we graduated a good group of those athletes. But to have a year like this where you have a lot of juniors and sophomores who could get the experience and be motivated for the 2024 season, I really think the seniors we had this year set a foundation of just continuing to build on what we've accomplished, and I think the years ahead will be good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, being an old geezer and all this, and my times running a slow 400-meter hurdle, baseball was also a spring sport, but the whole explosion of soccer and everything has really been important. How does that impact track programs? I mean, you have 150, so obviously your numbers are robust, but how does that, I think some schools have maybe experienced that where athletes have to make a choice and they can't do both.
Yes, we do have a few athletes. We have a few athletes who still do both, but we have some that ultimately end up having to make the decision of, I will run track or I will play soccer. I know Owen Wolf's one that stands out. He was a soccer athlete last year, and so this was his first year dedicated to just running, and it paid off. So we support athletes if they want to do both, or if there's one that they choose.
So there's not rivalry or, trying to cross-recruit against your own coaching staff.
No, with our school size.
Track's the best. No, softball's the best. No, baseball's the best.
We just want success at every sport, and with our numbers, we know that it takes multi-sport athletes to achieve the things that we all want to achieve. So us coaches do a good job of working together on those things.
Tremendous. So the 4x800 was a blistering race this year. I mean, 2 teams breaking 740. I mean, they were smoking, and then you were right there in the mix. But a time that would have won in many years. But
right.
yeah,
we knew after you see two teams run as fast as they could, you have to just say, hey, we've done our best, and we'll take our third place finish and go from there. The guys wanted to break the school record, which is 7:47. So they were close. Just missed it, but yeah, we were happy with how we performed in the 4x8.
And some PRs there among them too.
Yep.
So I don't know about you, but to me, the 800 is one of the most grueling of races. I mean, I'm sure the distance men would argue otherwise, but that combination of extended sprinting, really, yeah.
Yes, it's getting faster and faster every year, and it's just not just about endurance. You have to have some foot speed and turnover, and it takes a special athlete to do that race.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You mentioned shot put, among others. Nathan Rotherham getting a 4th place in the shot put, great accomplishment. The whole weight training scene too has also really stepped it up, right? I mean, that's something that athletes, no matter their sport, not just football or that, are lifting a lot. Can you talk about collaboration on that front?
Yes, I think as a whole, Coach Wilson has done a great job with the athletic department as far as having all teams aligned as far as how we lift and when we lift, and athletes have bought into that. And so it's a yearly process of working hard, and whether you're in season or out of season, you're still lifting. And I think that pays dividends for us in the end.
Yeah, and maybe fewer injuries as a result, and in that front. So the Des Moines area scene, some of the parochial schools. I mean, I think, not necessarily trying to create a factory, but it is something to try and expose young people to the sport when they're in elementary school and things, and have those summer experiences as well. Is that something you see that is a solid footing here?
Yes, we enjoy having our parochial track meets on mostly Monday nights throughout our season over at our track, and so we get to kind of see the 5th and 6th graders compete as well as the 7th and 8th graders. And this year, for the first time, we are doing a elementary school track camp, and so we'll have that here in a couple weeks in June. And we've got some athletes signed up, and so excited to see some of the young future Maroons come out.
Can they still register?
Yes, they can.
Where at?
That is on our Dowling Catholic website in camps, under camps. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I know I was with the Holy Family School 8th graders. They kind of had a concluding dinner every year. It's an annual custom for them. And they were very mindful of their last track meet coming up. So, I mean, I think it's just something that, I think, as bodies are developing, coordination and skill, self-image, a sense of one's own kind of dignity and worth, and how sports, when it's played right and when the culture is in the right place, can really, I think, lift up young people and give them a sense of their part in something greater than themselves.
Yes, I agree, and I love just the diversity in track and field, that there's almost something for everyone. Whether you're a thrower or a jumper or distance runner or short sprinter, you can find something that you can dedicate yourself to and have some success.
Yeah, I mean, many of the sports are individual in a sense, but there is a sense, even as one is doing that one is participating as a team, and that one can lend oneself, that a 6th place finish, a 7th place finish, or just kind of practicing hard can be a really tremendous piece of this as well. The women, obviously, we don't want to short shrift them in any way. I mean, so many of them performed with a high level. Obviously,
2 championships for the girls.
Yeah, Olivia Kramer pulling that off in the girls 4x100 sprint, and the 4A girls shuttle hurdle as well. So 6th all-time performance there. Olivia Kramer, Alex Gaskell, Reese Irvin, and Ruby Lehman did quite well there. And, of course, Ruby picking up a 2nd in the long jump, too. So,
yes, the girls have had an amazing season, and they worked very hard and have dedicated themselves to the goals they had for this year. With that shuttle hurdle, I will say they do have the state record in the shuttle hurdle, and so that's kind of become a staple of them wanting to bring that championship home, and so they've had a great weekend.
Yeah, they put Ames down, so there you go. Okay, very good, tremendous. Talk about your role as assistant athletic director. What does that entail on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so I am kind of one of the first lines of support for our coaches, and so I meet with our coaches preseason. I work with them on scheduling their events and just making sure they're prepped and ready. And I'm Coach Wilson and I both assist in just being a sounding board for them with how they set up their programs and the things that they're doing as a coach.
Okay. So the whole scheduling piece and kind of a shifting playing field, even with some of the conferences in recent years as well, right? Some of the schools electing to go kind of maybe in a smaller class and category. And there's been a proposal from the Iowa High School Athletic Association. I'm catching with a question that we didn't prep here, looking at perhaps at kind of economic data and things to kind of classify schools. Would you have a perspective on that?
Yes, as a coach in a formerly being in a Des Moines school, I do think that there's a competitive balance. As you look at resources and things, you want every athlete who's involved in athletics to be able to find success and to feel good about what they're doing and achieve. And I think there's a clear gap in kind of the haves and the have-nots and the schools that have been really good and some schools that have struggled. And so even if you look at the state track meet, there's been some changes just in the numbers of students in schools. And so some schools dropped down a class and they had some success. And I think that's really good for their communities and just athletics as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And of course, with the education savings accounts, probably the expectation is that Dowling will increase in enrollment likely, and so continuing to run with the big dogs as well, but not just to be just another suburban high school in a way, but again, there's a mission there that is essential, and if we're not realizing that, then we're not doing our job. You mentioned some of the other categories. We certainly also want to kind of recognize our friends in the Council Bluffs, St. Albert Catholic School, did quite well. The women there finishing tied for 9th, and several great performances among them. The boys, too, also doing well, although they finished in 12th. But the girls 4x800 finishing 3rd. Boys 200, Brendan Monahan getting 7th. We see also the Council Bluffs St. Albert women in the 4x800 getting 2nd with a time of 8:12. So again, some impressive places. Lily Denton, in the girls 1500 getting 3rd with a 4:43 time. So again, when people are in that right level and just that right niche for competition, I think it brings out excellence.
Well, kudos to all of the student athletes at Dowling and at St. Albert's. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio is provided by the Sarah Vocations Ministry, including the St. Sarah Club of Des Moines and the Sarah Club of Council Bluffs. Sarah is an apostolate of the Worldwide Catholic Church dedicated to fostering and supporting priesthood and religious vocations. Sarahans strive to accomplish their mission through prayer, fellowship, and service to the bishop, priests, sisters, and all in religious formation, and in doing so to increase their own holiness. Learn more at joinsarah.org, joinserra.org. Thank you, Sarahans, for your support of Iowa Catholic Radio.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio comes from businesses and organizations who share in the mission of connecting listeners to Christ while connecting you to their products and services they provide. To learn more and support the businesses and organizations who support the Iowa Catholic Radio Network, visit iowacatholicradio.com to view our business sponsors. If you'd like more information on how your business or organization can become a business sponsor, contact Deacon Mark 515-223-1150, 515-223-1150.
Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen.
Good to have you again staying with us, Coach Herring, and appreciate it. We don't mention all the towns in southwest Iowa that many of our Catholic young people are participating in track and field and other sports, but do want to give a shout-out to Eli Johnson from Bedford, who won the boys' wheelchair shot put. And that's special territory to us with seminarian Kyle Rowan from Bedford, Sacred Heart, and so some local pride there as well. So, but Jean, you were kind of wondering.
Yeah, Jared, okay. I've got grandkids, right? And they have disappointments in 2nd and 3rd grade, right? How do you, as a coach, help kids celebrate their successes without developing that sense of sinful pride and manage the defeats? And because they're going to have those things happen to them their entire life, and you have a unique opportunity. I want to know how you're going to help my grandkids, when they get there. Yeah,
absolutely. So I did mention earlier our team slogan just being pursuing excellence. Mm-hmm. And so as we talk about, what pursuing excellence means, it's giving your best and understanding that it's a pursuit, that you don't always attain what you set out to attain, but if you know that you've given your best, then, the outcome, you can be okay with that. And so we talk a lot about the inputs. What are you doing to further your athletic career? What are you doing to achieve whatever goal you set out to do? While also understanding that you may not attain the ultimate goal, but you're much happier with where you end up if you can say, I gave my all.
How do you help them with those disappointments when they are really crushed that they didn't do as well as what they thought they could or that you thought they could?
We encourage them to lean into it. It's completely okay to be disappointed. It's completely okay to set a goal and be upset when you don't achieve it. But ultimately, how do you bounce back from that? Do you just kind of wallow in that place, or do you set a new goal and adjust? I think life is all about adaptations and adjustments. If a track season went the way that I thought it would go from day one, then why would I need to coach? It's the art is there's an art and a science of coaching. The art is when it doesn't go the way I want it to do, when we have an injury, when there's a setback, how do you adjust and adapt? Mm-hmm. And some of that as a coach is just how you model it. As a coach, if I model anxiety or fear when something doesn't go our way, I think our athletes are more apt to do the same.
Is there ever a place for anger or not? Is that kind of passé? That's not going to work in the sports psychology or in the kind of human mode?
As a coach?
Yes.
I'm very mild-mannered, but I think there are times that it's necessary. And when you don't overuse that and the athletes know that, hey, coach really is fired up about this thing today. We really need to figure it out. Mm-hmm. I think there's a place for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Same for parents, same for teachers. It's like you got to use it.
Remember that in relating that to the officials, too, right?
Yes.
Of course. Although meet officials is a little different story. But no, and I'm not trying to get on my soapbox, but Coach, I really appreciate this because defeat is a defeat, right? And we don't kind of give everyone a ribbon or a medal, Not every child is an honor student, and so we just can't kind of gloss this. And I think there's something about the reality of not measuring up in a way that forms our characters in a way, and I think ultimately draws us into the Paschal mystery. Just a few seconds left. You are not only a mentor to young people, you're a father and a husband too. We better give a shout out in these last few seconds, Coach.
Absolutely. I just want to say hi to my wife, Shannon, JJ, my 5-year-old, and Sienna, my 2-year-old, tomorrow.
Very cool.
And so hopefully a little more family time in the summer, even though you'll be busy with camp and everything else. So Thank you, Coach Jared Herring, so much for being with us, and all the success to you.
Thank you.
Well, this has been another edition of Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. Thank you to our guest and all of our listeners in Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, or wherever you may be listening to Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
You can hear Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen every week on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by Sarah Vocations Ministry. Learn more at joinserra.org.